Well, hello there, me friends. I might be looking like Miss Ellie, but I'm actually a leprechaun. I thought I'd come and tell you a story because we missed St. Patrick's Day, which was a couple weeks ago, but we couldn't be in school. So I wanted to make some mischief, but there wasn't anybody around to make it with. So instead, I'm going to read you a story, Leprechauns Never Lie, by Lorna and Lucia Ballion. There was this old thatched hut, nestled in a glen near the river. Ninny Nanny and Gram lived there together. Each only had the other and no more. They lived simply on potato soup, and their needs were few. The thatch needed patching, the potatoes needed digging, the firewood needed gathering, and the water barrel, well, it needed filling. But Ninny Nanny was lazy, and Gram, well, she was a-ailing. She was a-getting old, and there was a naught but blathering between them. Gram nagged Ninny Nanny, and Ninny Nanny dawdled, and that was that. The rain came drip-drop through the thatch, the potato sack emptied, the chimney pot grew cold, and there was but a bit of rainwater in the barrel. It came to be that there was little to eat, just cold rainwater soup, pure and simple. "Oh, woe is me! 'Tis starving we are," moaned Gram. "What am I to do with such a lazy child?" "Ah, Gram, hush your nagging. I've been thinking to catch a leprechaun. He's bound to tell where he's hidden his gold, and 'tis rich for life will be," boasted Ninny Nanny. It's just raving you are, girl. To capture a leprechaun, it's no easy thing," said Gram. "Aye, so I've heard," said Ninny Nanny. "But we could make right use of a treasure, so I'm going to give it a try." Well, it was as easy as tripping over a log, which is what happened. Ninny Nanny was tramping about, looking every which where for a leprechaun, when she tumbled head over petticoat. Did that surprise you, Squeak? Head over petticoat, and fell kerplunk right on top of one of the wee fairy men. Ah! He howled like a banshee and wiggled and waggled, but Ninny Nanny had him firmly by the seat of his breeches, and that was that. "Let me go!" shrieked the angry leprechaun. "Sure and gladly I'll let you loose, but I'll know first where your treasure is hidden," said Ninny Nanny. "Ah! 'Tis under the straw pile, but you've not the wit to find it," grumbled the little man. "We'll see about that," said Ninny Nanny, as she carried him squirming and kicking to show Gram her prize. And wasn't she pleased? They tied him firmly into a potato sack, and Gram watched that he didn't waggle away. "Oh, let go of me! Let me out of here! Help me!" While Ninny Nanny started pitching straw this way and that. "Sure, and 'tis witless and lazy she is," hissed the leprechaun to Gram. "She'll find no treasure in the mess she's a-making." "I heard that, and you'll not fool me, leprechaun," said Ninny Nanny, and she lifted the straw gently, searched through it bit by bit, and carried it up to the roof, out of the way. Do you see what she's doing to the thatch roof, which had holes in it? Sure, and the whole of the straw pile was upon the roof, and not a mite of gold to be found, and that was that. "'Tis a liar you are, leprechaun," bawled Ninny Nanny. "Ah! A liar I'm not. Hidden under the straw it was, but I just now recalled that the mice were nosing about. So I moved it under the big oak tree and covered it with branches," said the leprechaun. Stack the branches here by the door, Ninny Nanny, said Gram. I'll sort through them for any stray coins. Ninny Nanny carried and stacked the branches. Gram examined every stick, and the leprechaun scowled. Ninny Nanny raked up the last few twigs and found no speck of treasure under the tree, and that was that. He's a lion again, Gram, howled Ninny Nanny. Ah! A liar I am not! Hidden under the tree it was, but I remember now that I must have moved it to a safer place, mumbled the leprechaun. What did the leprechaun get them to do? They're gathering firewood. Speak up and tell me where you've hidden the gold, demanded Ninny Nanny, shaking him till his wee head wobbled. Whoa! The river, squawked the leprechaun. I put it under the river. Sure, and I'm not to believe in that. How did you get it under the river, and how am I going to get it out? Asked Ninny Nanny. I've told you where, but I'll not tell you how, grumbled the leprechaun. Ninny Nanny got the bucket and started to bail out the water. She was tossing water onto the riverbank at a furious rate. "'Tis witless you are, girl," laughed the leprechaun. "Can't you see all that water sliding back where it came from?" And he was right, of course. So Ninny Nanny emptied her bucket into the water barrel. Till the barrel was full to overflowing, but the river was as deep as before, and that was that. "Sure, and 'tis a liar you are, leprechaun," wailed Ninny Nanny, "and 'tis throwing you into the river I am." "Don't be hasty, girl," begged the leprechaun. "A liar I am not, just forgetful at times. I remember clearly now, that's right, I buried my treasure in your very own potato patch." "I'm not believing you, leprechaun. 'Tis another lie you're telling me," said Ninny Nanny. "Then 'tis a foolish girl you are," said the man, "for leprechauns never lie." "Aye, I've heard tell they're bound by fairy law to tell the truth," said Gram. "I'll believe that when I see it," grumbled Ninny Nanny as she went to fetch the spade. Ninny Nanny dug and grubbed about in the potato patch. Graham smiled to see all the potatoes scattered about. The leprechaun scowled. Arr! What is Ninny Nanny doing? She's digging up what? She's digging up the potatoes. Maybe she's not so lazy after all. Ninny Nanny dug the potato patch wide and deep, uprooting all but one of the potato plants. Sure and all she had to show for her efforts was a hole in the garden and a heap of potatoes, and that was that. She threw down the spade in disgust. "I've had enough of digging, and I've had enough of lying leprechauns," bawled Ninny Nanny. "Let him loose, Gram, for we'll be needing that sack for potatoes." So Gram untied the sack and whisked like a shopping start in the night. The wee man vanished. Ninny Nanny and Gram supped on good, hot, healthy potato soup, and then fell soundly asleep in their warm, dry hut. While out in the potato patch, the wee leprechaun was busily digging up the last potato plant. He carefully lifted out his pot of gold, muttering, "Aye, leprechauns never lie." And that was that. There he is, found his pot of gold and the last potato that Ninny Nanny didn't dig up. But instead they fixed their roof, filled their water barrel, collected firewood, and got plenty of potatoes, so they shan't go hungry anymore.